Bonjour, bonsoir. How are you, dear friends? We are building the most inspiring and phenomenal communities of wine lovers. As we all know, wine is the catalyst of the greatest discussion. We'll be talking wine, but of course food, and everything that touches all our emotion and senses. Bonjour, bonsoir, and welcome to JCB Live. As you can see, we have a dazzling, radiant new sign to welcome our new guest, an amazing man for this happy hour. He lives on the East Coast, but he does not really have a place where he lives. He globe around the world because he is an amazing entrepreneur, started his world in finance, and really realized that it was not necessarily the life he wanted to live. He will tell us all about it. He's an entrepreneur, he's a visionary, he's an adventurist, and he's one of those men that knows everything about every places. He settled for 11 years in Thailand. I'm sure he'll have to tell us a lot about it, how amazing and exotic it was. And he knows so much about wine, but more importantly, he knows about the world. He has an amazing life story, and I'm so excited, dear friends, to welcome the man that has an amazing show on Lifetime TV, Scott Eddy. Bonjour, Scott.
Hey, buddy. What's going on, John Charles?
I love this beautiful bow tie. You look so adorably charming, a man of the world.
Come on. We got to celebrate, right?
And we're going to have a toast.
What are we drinking? What are we drinking?
Well, we start with the bubbles. Maybe the JCB 21 or the Wattle Creek Blanc Blanc, if you wish.
Let's try the JCB first.
I know we got to start in France and make our way back to California. So I'm so excited to see you again. You're looking so dazzling, so charming. Do you always wear this beautiful bow tie? Is it your signature?
It is not my signature, but I thought I would, dress up for you. And I know you had a new sign, and you're normally all glittered out and sparkles and things like that. So this is my JCB outfit.
I love it. I'm charmed. And I put all my little skulls because you're the man of multiple lives and multiple transformation.
You are.
So I suggest we dive into that life-changing moment when you were in high school that made you who you are today.
So I grew up very, very normal. I was a policeman's son, and I spent most of my days after school with my father at the police station, learning how to be a cop, watching him give interrogations, autopsies, polygraphs, everything that you see in like Law and Order and Chicago PD, like that was my lifestyle. For me, I was going to graduate high school, 6 months later, join the police academy, become a cop, get married, have a wife and kids, and die. My life was very mapped out. 3 weeks before I graduated high school, while I already had my date to start the police academy, my father was killed in the line of duty in a plane crash.
Tragic.
Yeah, it just turned my whole world upside down. My perfect life, it just crushed, and I didn't know what I wanted to do. I definitely didn't want to be a cop anymore. I didn't like school because I didn't think that they taught you what you needed to learn. And I was just lost. So after a few months, my cousin's friend in New York, who was in the finance world, this was 1989.
Yeah.
He said that these two guys from Wall Street were moving down to Florida to open up their own investment banking firm, and that he knew them very well, and he could suggest that they put me in their training program and teach me how to be a stockbroker in the finance world. And I thought it was a very bad idea. I didn't know anything about business, nothing about stocks, no math. I had no education. I was a C- student. I was not smart in that world. But I did it anyway.
Wow.
And it was the best thing that ever could happen at that time, because I learned the only true skill that you really need to learn in the world, and that's how to sell. And they taught me how to sell anything to anybody, and I did it for 10 years. Obviously, during the 90s, the stock market went through the roof. So had a lot of success.
For sure. Well, I don't see you, forgive me to interrupt, but I don't see you anyhow in anything you do not having success, because you have that positive, energistic personality that anything you would touch, I could see you transforming it in many ways to something successful.
You know, I try. For me, it's all about people, and you have to find your passion. Then you got to find a way to make money at it. So they sold the firm in '99, and I went on a trip to go visit a friend who was living in Thailand. I had a 2-week ticket, and after 4 days, I called my mother. I said, "I'm never leaving this place. I found my home." And
Are you serious?
Yeah, and I lived in Europe and Asia for 17 years.
That's amazing. So you called your mother from there and you said, "I'm staying."
Yeah.
So how long did you stay in Thailand?
So I was in Bangkok for 11 years.
Yeah.
And I was out there when social media was invented. So on a whim, on just by chance, I opened up the first digital agency in Southeast Asia, and we were the biggest for 5 years. That's where I learned all the digital world, and all of our clients were in the hospitality world and hotels. So that's how I learned the travel space. And after 5 years, I sold it and just built up my personal brand. And the rest is history.
That's unbelievable. So, well, I'm going to have a toast to this. So much history from your father, sadly, you know, in the line of duty, then your life in Wall Street, being very successful there, and then suddenly Thailand. Can I ask you a personal question? What made you stay to Thailand after 4 days? There must have been a little more than just the beauty of the history and anything else. You know, is there something to share here?
Well, I can tell you honestly, it had nothing to do with the history. It had nothing to do with how beautiful it was, because it was. It had everything to do with the people.
Yeah.
So for me, being in the finance world, you're surrounded by people that only care about numbers and money.
Yeah.
And I was surrounded with that, and I was really engulfed in that industry and sucked into that industry for 10 years. And it was so refreshing to be around people that, I mean, essentially, when I went, it was really a developing country, if not a third world country, in '99. And these people were the happiest people in the world. And some of them had nothing. And I came from a country where we have everything at our fingertips, but yet the average person is unhappy. So for me, that was a deciding factor. I just wanted to be around people that were happy no matter what. And it changed my life. It changed my way of thinking. And it was one of the big reasons that I got rid of everything that I owned and traveled full time.
That's unbelievable. So we will come to that, Scott. Now, tough question though, because, you know, you lived a trauma situation with your father, sadly, you know, being killed in the line of duty. What's your view of all that is going on today as being the son of a policeman who you know, hot topic is basically what we all talking about right now in 2020.
So I still very much believe in what police stand for. Yeah. Having said that, there's good and bad in everything. And I am very happy that the whole racism topic is becoming top of mind for everybody, because it's long overdue.
Yes.
I'll tell you a quick thing about me. I grew up from age 3 to 29 in Fort Lauderdale, and my dad was a Fort Lauderdale cop. My elementary school, from kindergarten to 5th grade, there were 7 white people in my school. The rest were black, including me and my sister, and including staff. So I really understood black culture before I understood white culture, and I didn't understand that there was racism in the world until I got to middle school.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can totally see
for me, it enrages me internally that someone would look at somebody of color and judge them different because of their color. I don't believe in it. I don't condone it. And I'm very happy these conversations are taking place.
Absolutely. Shocking to imagine that in the 21st century, we still have those discussions. After all that we've lived through, whichever the continent we come from, you know, and those topics are obviously very hot buttons on every continent,
Yeah.
in every way, shape, or form, and in every direction. Whether it's in Asia, as we all know, whether it's in Africa,
Sure.
whether it's in Europe or here. So I'm so glad that you had such a diverse, you know, background. Is it what really took you to become who you are today in the world of traveling, understanding, you know, skin colors to religion to cultures very early on, to really wanting to delve into that?
So I don't think there's anything that drove me to where I am today. I think everything happened organically, and it happened for a reason. And I just didn't resist any path.
Yeah.
So I just took what was given to me. And even today, I don't have goals. My goal in the travel industry was not to be the host of a TV travel show. My goal is not to visit every country in the world. My goal is not to do any of those things. I have one simple goal. I want to meet as many people as I can in as many countries as I can, as quickly as I can. Because I know if that happens, lots of great opportunities will come my way, both in business and in friendship.
Well said. Yeah, I love your your goals, so to speak, which are not monetary driven or financials, or it's not just about economics, it's just about people and what it brings. This is fabulous.
Yeah.
So this is why I'd love for you to open the next wine, Scott, because this is the JCB 21 from Burgundy, but the next wine really represents who you are on the label. And this is the butterfly. And the symbol, as you know, the butterfly's transformation, metamorphosis, and you know, the person who can really adapt so well. So maybe let's have a toast with the next, that's the other bubbles you have.
Is this, oh, the other bubbles. Oh, okay.
We want to go to bubbles. That's the one, of course.
Wattle Creek.
Wattle Creek. So tell us about this amazing discovery in Thailand that made you stay there. And I could see as well you wearing this wonderful bracelet that symbolizes a school of thought. So would you be so kind to share that with us?
Yeah, so before I get into Thailand, I don't buy souvenirs when I travel. All I buy is bracelets, beads, and I have a couple rules to myself. They must be bought at a local market, not a shop, something outside, something in a tent, something on a street, and they all have to be local products. Like I'm not going to buy a Tibet bead in Miami.
That's good. Well, I would agree with that principles for sure. That's the concept in wine of terroir, you know,
yeah,
sense of place.
100%. So I have lots of these and I swap them out all the time. I probably have 100. And these two colorful ones are from Crete when I was there in November. And this one is from Taiwan when I was there a couple of years ago.
And what do they represent? What's the meaning? Is it religious?
No,
is it spiritual?
not. What it does is it reminds me where I've been, and it every time I look down at it and every time I talk about it, those memories from these countries barrel through my head, and it just makes me happy.
Love it. So tell us about Thailand, because this is a place that many people have not been yet, should go. And I fully agree with you. This place is so magnetic and the people have such an energy that you want to stay. So I totally can relate to the fact that you spent 11 years of your life there.
Thailand's like a magnet. It just draws you towards it. The people they're the warmest people I've ever met and the most kind people I've ever met on the planet. And yeah, it's not the same that it was in '99, but I don't think anywhere stays the same. France is not the same from 15 years ago as well, and neither is the US. So while I have a lot of friends there and they're like, oh yeah, but Thailand's not the same, but the people remain the same. The people at the core are tremendous. And I think that translates over into the food that they cook, because I think because they're such wonderful people, down to the core, I think that translates into how they cook for other people. And I firmly believe that Thai food is as good as it is because the people are as good as they are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm a big fan of it as well, and I could feel in the food the generosity and the willingness to share, the willingness to open, the willingness to discover, and the willingness to trigger as well spice and conversations.
Well, let me tell you, I got news for you. Champagne pairs with spicy Thai food on another level that's not even describable.
Well, what would you actually pair this wine with? The wine you're having right now, the Wattle Creek Blanc de Blanc.
Let me tell you, I would pair it with some pad thai and something else spicy on the side. Pad thai isn't necessarily spicy, but maybe some samtam on the side, some spicy papaya salad, really spicy, because this would just make the flavor explode in your mouth.
You make me want to have Thai food now. Maybe in a few hours we're going to go for it. So, Scott, what makes you such an amazing entrepreneur? Very successful on Wall Street, but then you go to Thailand, you start a digital agency. I mean, it's unheard of in a foreign country, in a language you did not necessarily speak. And you success, again, 5 years later, you sell it, and then you start another business. What makes you such an entrepreneur, and what makes someone a great, successful entrepreneur?
So I don't necessarily think that I'm great. I'm just religiously laser focused on certain principles. It takes much less work to make yourself successful versus working for somebody else and making them rich. So if you're putting in that effort anyway, you might as well do it for yourself.
Okay, great.
Number two, I base everything that I do around relationships of the people that I have and the relationships that I develop in the future. So whatever business I've started, whatever business I get into, it's because that relationship was built first, and then I came up with something to launch out of it.
Love it.
I think that there has to be a passion first. There has to be. And once you have that passion, you can bounce several things off of it.
So what is your passion?
My passion is meeting people, developing relationships. And so I was always into that because my father, you know, any successful police officer, they're only as good as their contacts that they have in the streets to find out information, right?
Very
They're informants. So with that, my father always drilled it into my head that relationships are the foundation for anywhere you want to go in life. And I still keep that drilling in my head on a daily basis. I think that most people try to be adults too quick, and they forget the principles, how they were raised and what they were taught. And I think that's why we have so much unkindness and just people being not nice in the world.
Yeah.
If you remember the principles, if you were raised properly, you should just be nice. I mean, that's the one rule you should have in your life every day. Just be nice.
Kindness.
Yeah.
Kindness, appreciation, and recognition for what we have and who we are in many ways and how lucky we are, right?
Absolutely.
I mean, it's very true. So the latest business you started, tell us about it, because you have incredible following. You have an amazing influence on people travelings and wanting to discover new cultures. And I'm saying that besides wine, where you're very knowledgeable as well. So tell us about how you got to start it and what fuels it today.
So while I had the agency in Thailand, I was also building up a social media following that I had no idea what I was going to do with it.
Yeah.
And then after I sold the agency, it just sort of organically became a business, because once I sold the agency, I started to get people reached out to me that we already connected on social, and they asked me to do certain things in the marketing world, build out digital strategies, give me a workshop, a social media workshop during the day. Come and take photos of my property and post them on your social. And so all of those things. So basically all the services of a digital agency, I now do, but under my name.
That's fantastic. And it was purely organic. It's just happened.
100%.
Without planning.
Yeah, without planning. And I just, again, I took what came to me, and if I'm going to do anything, it's going to be global. I can't, it makes my head explode to just work local and not grow as big and as fast as I possibly can, because the world is not a big place. If you actively get out there, the world is not a big place. I mean, how often do you fly from Napa to Paris? How many times a year? I mean, multiple times a year.
For sure. Probably 10, 11 times.
Right.
Exactly.
I mean, I'm in France 7, 8 times a year under normal circumstances. It's my second most visited country. Do you want to guess the first?
No, what's the first?
The first would be Mexico, because I work with several resorts down there.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Wow. So I'm down there maybe 15 times a year.
That's amazing. So before we go into that business, do you believe in destiny?
I do, 100%.
So do you believe your path was totally mapped out from your childhood all the way to where you are today?
I think, and it might sound heartless, but yes, I do. Would I have liked to take the path that I thought I was going on? Would I like to have, I mean, that happened to me when I was 18. I never had an adult conversation with my father. My father never saw any success. Yeah. My father never saw me get my first job. You know, but I did have tremendous experiences with him, and my dad was like a wannabe redneck. So we went fishing every weekend and hunting and things like that. So I did have I have a lot of great memories, but I am where I am, and I can't turn back the hands of time. And I'm grasping what I have right now, and I'm trying to run as fast as I can.
Well, that's amazing. So you run to France. So talking about France, the next wine we planned for you, because you love France and you go, as you said, 7, 8 times a year, the Gigondas from the Rhone Valley. Yes, of course. That's
yeah.
We want you to speak French today a little bit.
Oh, here we go.
So this is the wine that really has the complexity, Scott, of your personality. Multiple facets, multiple talents, the way to navigate through all the seas of the world. So as we cheer on this wine, I'm very excited to hear your description of the wines, but tell us your favorite destination in the world, and then the wine you have not yet discovered that you wish to go.
So first I want to ask you a question. I am a big believer that the phrase should be abolished from the wine industry.
I love that. I agree with you.
I think it's complete bullshit. And I think that things should not be what they are. I drink champagne in a wine glass. Yeah. I like my reds chilled, and you know, I just think.
And that's maybe your influence in Thailand, you know, with the temperature. Absolutely. I think wine ought to be consumed the way you want, however you want, whenever you want. It could be breakfast, lunch, and dinner, or it could be in the middle of the night.
Yeah, absolutely.
And whichever containers and whatever fancies you, wine is here to help you dream.
Yeah, absolutely.
To help you travel, to help you go on a journey, to help you culturally, you know, discover new places as well. I mean, thanks to wine, we travel, right? Is it why you love wine? How did you get into wine?
So how I got into wine is the funniest story ever. So my mother was born in Jamaica. My mom's parents are from Lebanon. So they moved to Jamaica, and all my mom and my aunts and uncles and cousins, they were all born in Jamaica. So for me, I grew up drinking rum. I'm a spirits guy through and through, period. Still to this day, I describe myself as a spirits guy. So when I left Thailand, I came to Barcelona. Barcelona, I figured I was going to be living there for a while. I was there for 3 years. And
wow. I did not know that.
Yeah. So when you're in a restaurant in Spain, the first thing they do is bring out a bowl of olives and put it on the table. The next thing is you order your meal and they come to you and say, what kind of wine would you like? Red or white? And then after the meal, everybody has coffee. Okay, so 3 things. I do not like olives. I love olive oil. I hate olives.
It's a bad start.
So I was not about to eat olives. I am not much of a wine drinker, and I have never had a sip of coffee in my life. So
Spain was made for you.
Listen, I was like an alien in Spain, an absolute alien. So I figured, listen, Scott, try to look less like an alien, and you have to start one of these things, and wine was the easiest thing to start. So because of that, I got into wine.
That's amazing. Do you eat olives now?
No.
Still not.
Still never had coffee, but I do love wine. So when I started to drink wine, I started to visit a lot of the vineyards in Rioja and Costa Brava and, all over Spain. And that really started my love affair with wine. And I started meeting, so what really was the hook was not the taste. When I started going to the vineyards and meeting these winemakers and owners of the wineries and hearing their stories, that was the hook.
That's it.
These people are super interesting, and it was my addiction. Now it's absolutely my addiction, and I connect with people in the wine world on a daily basis on Twitter because it's still the most active platform for bloggers, wine writers, somms, everybody. And that's how I made every wine relationship I have in my life.
And you write about wine these days, right? So tell us about that.
So I don't write, but I do talk about wine often. And listen, with me, you're always going to get the raw truth. In my opinion, I have zero wine intelligence, but I like what I like and I don't like what I don't like. So I will give you my honest opinion. This is amazing.
Thank you so much.
Listen, I can't tell you what's going on with the tannins. I can't tell you what kind of fruit was made. All that other stuff, I'll leave to the experts. For me, I love it. I love it chilled, and it's perfect.
Well, and this is the way many of us in France drink it. And we picked this wine again for you because typically the Southern Rhone region is extremely good. The grape variety is very good with Thai food. And we know you love the spice and you love that amazing flavors of Thailand.
Yeah.
We happen to be quite successful with this wine in Asia in general, but in Thailand specifically. So what a pick. Made for you.
Good job. You did your homework.
So tell us, Scott, about your company and Globetrotter and what you do and the TV show. I mean, what you've branched out is amazing. And I'd love all our viewers not only to connect and follow you, but at the same time as well, learn from how you did it.
I mean, there was no path. I took what was given to me. And I think that's what you have to do in life. So the TV show came about in a very, again, an organic way. I had a woman, Kristen, and she was following me for about 1.5 years and commenting, always conversations going back and forth. And finally, one day when I was in Fort Lauderdale, she said, "Oh, you're in town. Let's meet up for a drink." So we never met before. She came over, we met for a drink, and she is a publicist. She owns a PR agency in Delray Beach. And after a week, after we met that one time, I signed with her and she's my publicist.
Fantastic.
So within a few weeks of us signing the contract together, she introduced me to a TV studio, again in South Florida, but they already have 5 shows on Lifetime. And she said, listen, this company, this production studio, they have a show on the shelf. It's just collecting dust. It's a travel series, and they want to make it work. They need a host. So come in. The place is called Brand Star Productions, and I went in. I met them. They're wonderful. We signed a contract, and I am the TV host for the first travel series on Lifetime, and it's the first morning travel series ever.
That's fantastic.
I was very, very fortunate that we filmed the first episode, the pilot, before the pandemic happened, and it aired during the pandemic. And I was also fortunate that the show has not been canceled. We're just going to pick it up once travel starts again, and we can travel and film on location. So yeah, it's exciting.
That's unbelievable. So tell us about the name of the show, because I love the name.
It's Video Globetrotter, and you can actually watch the first episode on the website, videoglobetrotter.com.
That's so exciting. And
yeah.
what is the destination you really want to take people that you feel would be one of the most culturally interesting and life-changing for them as well? Because I think people during the time we're living in are really looking for that, as you've lived yourself organically when you went to Thailand and Spain and France. And so what's your recommendation? What's your thought on this?
I want to change people's lives just like my life was changed. I want to take people on a journey through Thailand. Now, I know every travel show goes to Thailand and they eat the street food and they do this, and Anthony Bourdain was there and he did a great episode. Yep. I understand that. But for me, it changed my life on so many levels that I feel like I got such a gift, and I want to take that gift and give it to everybody. I try to encourage everybody to go there. And when they go, I introduce them to all my friends. I feel like I'm the luckiest guy in the world, and I need to share that on a daily basis.
So you would say, Scott, Thailand is your destination number one? 100%.
Bangkok is my number one place on the planet. It's never going to change. It's never has changed.
So
having said that, I think that an interesting episode would be, don't you have 28 wineries in France? And I think that visiting all 28 of your wineries in an episode would be tremendous. You and me, the co-hosts of an episode, that would be awesome.
I promise you I'll wear my colorful bow tie as well. We could be the bow tie boys in the wine world.
I'm down.
It would be a lot of fun in any event to receive you anytime. You remember how we met?
I do remember how I met. The question is, do you remember how we met? Listen, so let me just tell everybody how we met. So we met on social a few years ago. And obviously, I visit your place, and I do a lot of work for you. I do a lot of your drone production there in Napa, and I'm friends with a lot of people that work for you. And Dylan's a very close friend of mine.
Amazing man.
Oh, I love him. And I know he's there right now. What's up, Dylan?
He's right behind the camera, you know. He's the digital man.
So, but we never met in real life until last year. And I have the photo right here. It's not a photo of us, but I have a photo reminding me. It was on January 31st last year at the Eden Rock Hotel in Miami Beach at the Wine Star Awards.
That's right.
You were there.
Absolutely, I remember you.
Remember? And I was there with Lisa from Jordan. And so I
must say I remembered Lisa first. Obviously. And then I remembered you.
Obviously.
That goes naturally.
Obviously. Because Lisa's wonderful. She's perfect.
She's fabulous.
So, and this is weird. So I'm in line to go into the bathroom, to go use the bathroom. And because everybody's drinking wine, everybody's going to the bathroom. And I'm in there.
I went to the pool, but that was okay.
I'm in there using the bathroom, standing at a urinal, and all of a sudden I feel a tap on my shoulder. You're sitting next to me, and you go, "Hey, aren't you Scott Eddy?" And I was like, "Oh my God, JCB." I'm like, I am, but I would appreciate, like, let me wash my hands first before we shake hands.
Well, I think we hugged sideways.
So we washed hands and walked outside and hugged it out and had a drink together. So that was the first time we met, and I'll never forget it. I never met anybody for the first time in a bathroom.
Hey, this is a great place to meet, isn't it? So
Total concentration.
an amazing time together, and more to come. And that's the beauty of it is, you know, and I say that to everyone, to all our viewers today, you know, when you meet someone, you feel electricity, magnetism, you feel that energy between us. This is friendship forever. And I'm so grateful we did meet in those circumstances, because we will never forget.
Ever
At
forget.
least I will never forget to hear that story too. We wish she was maybe in between for a moment, but who knows? So, Scott, tell us about, besides traveling, your other passions. Because I know you're a very passionate man. You have a lot of point of interest and curiosity, and I could see everyone wants to know, what else does he love?
You know, I'm really addicted to the way the digital industry connects human beings.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you, let's talk about the wine industry. For me, the wine industry, while it's beneficial to me and while it's tremendous I've met some of the closest friends in my life in it, it's also incredibly frustrating, because the wine industry is controlled by people that are dinosaurs.
Mm-hmm.
And they have resisted the digital industry for so long. And while the pandemic has forced us to get more digital and forced innovation, and while some wineries and wine companies have taken advantage of this and really gone all in on the wine industry or in digital, there are some that are still resisting the change. And it's incredibly frustrating. So one of my loves in the world is teaching people how to digitize their life and their companies. So I do a lot of workshops. I do a lot of, these days, Zoom calls, teaching companies, teaching individuals how, you know, coming up with a digital strategy for their life, for their company.
That's great to know.
Because I think it's incredibly important. I mean, the world is not getting less digital. I mean, after digital, what comes next? Voice.
That's
it.
You
know, look at Alexa. Look at, you know, it's the world is getting more and more like, do you remember the cartoon, The Jetsons?
Of course.
Okay, so do you know that 90% of the things on The Jetsons, while we were little, looking at it like, whoa, can you imagine? 90% of those things are actually in everyday life right now. It is unbelievable.
It's unbelievable. Very true.
And the world is only getting more digital.
Well, we'll make sure, Scott, not that you need it because you're extremely busy man, but we'll make sure we share with all our viewers and everybody as well your information, because everybody needs help and everybody really needs help to navigate in this incredible crowded digital space, whether you're a wine person or any business. So I think your advice and your suggestions would be very, very welcome by many. So we'll make sure. You're going to get a lot of phone calls, I hope. So Scott, we met as well in Napa Valley. So the next wine I want you to try and to give me what you think as an opinion is a very important wine to the history of wine and to the history of the US and Napa Valley. It's 1881, our first museum at, you know, the Oakville Grocery. Adjacent to that, it's our Oakville wine merchant, and one of the wines that really represent, I know you love Napa Valley, all the AVA in one bottle. So I would love to get your opinion on this wine as well, as I have a very big question for you.
Uh-oh. What do you got?
Because we've listened to your incredible achievement, your amazing life,
right,
your destiny that takes us where you are today. And what is your dream? A dream maybe you've never shared with anyone on social media. And I know you have hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of followers on all your platforms. Is there something we want to know from Scott that is never really shared as a wild dream? It could be any dreams.
Oh my God, what's my dream?
And you could save that bottle of wine. We could just talk about it and you could save it for another time.
What's my dream? Let's let me get some liquid motivation here.
Well, or it could be, what's your aspiration? What's next as well? Because obviously you keep building, you keep creating, and it's very organic with you. It's not like you're doing a business plan and you say, this is who I want to be in 3 years. It just happens. So
let me tell you, I had this before. The last time I visited Raymond, me and Dylan shared a bottle of this, and it is...
Dylan is a very generous guy, isn't he?
Dylan's a very generous guy with your wine, actually.
I love it. Well, that's how we want it to be. I would not expect him to serve anyone else wine. You know, I do kickboxing, so he knows right? He's got to be careful.
Thai boxing. Thai boxing.
Well, you know, they're so tough. And, you know, one of the time I went to Thailand, I need to tell you, I've adored it. And I was invited, in fact, with my sister by Thai Airways. And it was an amazing trip. We were providing some very fine wines from Burgundy. And we were invited, in fact, by the highest level of the aristocracy. And they said, what would you like to do when you are visiting Thailand? Says, one of my dreams is to go in the arena and to see, you know, a Thai match. Because I was doing martial arts at the time, but mainly judo. And I went to see those guys, and I went to see them training and kicking on a palm tree to make their thigh a little stronger and their bone thicker. It was unbelievable. And I said to myself, thank God I'm not in the ring, because they would in 12 seconds probably put me down. I mean, Thai boxing is unreal, isn't it? I mean, they are killers. You would put them in the MMA category in the US and they would create a lot of damage.
The more dangerous they are. That's what really was mind-blowing to me. These guys are the toughest guys on the planet.
Well, and you know, which I love, and you alluded to that before, is it's not about your appearance. It's not about how big you are. It's not about how muscular you are. It's not about how much bodybuilding you've done. They're so fast and so quick that you don't see it coming, and here it is. So you never judge anyone by the way they look and by the way they behave, because it's always one of the most phenomenal surprises when you see them fighting and how good they are. It's crazy.
So I have a question for you.
Well, we cannot escape your dreams.
I'll answer that. Answer this. How's harvest going this year?
Well, it's going. We started with the white wines specifically right now. We're 3 weeks away as of today, you know, about the reds. We've had a few fires going on, as you know, so it's a little challenging because there is smoke taint.
Sure. And
we hope it doesn't, you know, transpire into the actual wine, but it will in some instances where the fire were very close to the vineyard. So, you know, 2020 is eventually a year we want to say we've learned a great deal, we've experienced a lot.
And there's going to be a huge asterisk next to 2020 everywhere.
That's right. And in French, it's vin sur vin, so it means wine on wine. But it's maybe a vintage we may want to enjoy quickly. So I think we will harvest the grapes, of course, unlike what many people are saying, and we will make wine. But we're very lucky here to drink 2016, 2017, 2018, which are amazing, amazing, incredible vintages. So if I were to collect wine, as I do, I buy a lot of 2016, a lot of 2018, and I'm going to buy a lot of 2019. 2020, we'll see. But I don't think it's going to be a year you want to keep.
2020 will buy and drink very quick.
That's it. So, Scott, maybe a dream you want to share? I'm not going to let you off the hook.
Listen,
I know how you think.
I generally don't have any goals or dreams outside of just meet as many people as I can, like I told you. But I will say I have a wish. One thing I wish, I have one sister, And she has a very normal life. She's been married for 26 years. She has an 18-year-old daughter who I'm very close with. My niece, I would love to take her and travel around the world with her.
Wow, that's a great
month and just go everywhere with her and really show her the world.
Well, she's lucky to have such an uncle. And she's probably listening tonight, so she may ask you to take her on that trip soon. So, Scott, the ultimate question, the very important one. You're wise, you accumulated an incredible experience, you've been so inspirational. Your life path is so amazing. And I want to commend you for that, and commend you as well for taking chances, taking risks, and being who you are, because you don't hesitate to go for it. From moving to Thailand, to Spain, to Europe, back to the US. Oh, thank you. To doing all what you've done. What message would you have? We are in September 2020. We have amazing listeners. You have an incredible social base. What message do you want to send to everyone? Everybody watching us tonight.
Well,
this is Scott Eddy, ladies and gentlemen. The wisdom coming as a globetrotter.
It's not wisdom. It's my advice is very simple. Be kind, be nice, have a give first attitude. There's too many people arguing about politics and Republican or Democrat or wearing a mask or not wearing a mask. Who cares? Those things don't matter. Just be kind. Respect one another. Have a give first attitude. Stop wanting in the beginning and have a give first attitude. Yes, some people are going to take advantage of you, but the people that don't and give back are going to be good friends forever.
So well said. Scott, you are the best. I so much enjoyed spending the last 45 minutes together. I cannot wait for our next bathroom break. We don't wait for too long. and the glass of wine afterwards, and the dance floor, of course. And I cannot wait to see you physically, for us to have a lot of fun.
I'm taking a picture of us cheersing. Come on. You got to cheers.
Cheers. And to all our friends, to your continued success and your contagious, phenomenal personality, Scott. Thank you for being with us today. And I cannot wait to travel with you soon.
Yeah. Santé.
Santé.